You are listening to a Freedom Student Ministry podcast.
All right, so we're talking about, the theme has been wired. Can you get the lights, Kellen, just real quick? The theme for the past 3 weeks has been wired. Have you guys ever heard the term, you got your wires crossed?
Yes.
Sure.
Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. So I actually found out what that means today. So it actually has something to do with phones. But before that, you may have gotten your wires crossed when you misunderstood your mom. She's like, hey, I'm going to pick you up on Wednesday. But you thought she said, I'm going to take you to Wendy's after school. But what she really said was, I'm going to pick you up on Wednesday after school. So you got your wires crossed. You got confused. Or your teacher says, this assignment is due on Sunday. But you thought she said, or let me get this. You better do your assignment on Sunday because it's due soon. But you thought she said someday. Not Sunday, someday, right? Yeah. Honest mistake. But so those are some examples of when you get your wires crossed, when you get mixed up in conversation. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to us now because we have these rad phones that don't have wires. But 10 years ago, look what I found in the church. We had these kinds of phones. Even now, some of us have these phones. But like 10 years ago also, we had like these flip phones. Yeah, Austin has one. I don't know. Guys, even 10 years ago and before that, we had these kinds of phones. They had wires, right? Wires. Yeah. And then right here, these used to hang up on a wall. Raise your hand if you may have seen one of these before. A rotary phone. But I want you to watch this video. Voices off, please. This video, guys, can you please pay attention? This video doesn't have any sound, but it's quick and it shows you a switchboard operator, which is where the whole wires being crossed came from. Watch this, just real quick. She's a switchboard. They're switchboard operators getting calls from Vancouver. Sorry. So each of those women receives a phone call from someone who says, hey, can you patch me through to so-and-so? And then they send the call. I'll explain it in more detail in a second.
That's how it was back then?
That's how it was back then. That's the best way to put it. Okay, so listen, please. So I need to explain this. Okay. So this is crazy, just because we're totally not used to it. But you would pick up your old rotary phone, this kind of thing, and the operator would be right there, and then you'd say, hey, I need to call my Aunt Susie in Colorado Springs. And she would say, okay, and she would dial some number, I don't know how she knew, and she would move your wire to connect with Aunt Susie's wire, and then you'd be able to speak to each other. Brandon?
You would have the dial number out. You wouldn't just answer the phone. You have the dial number out.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of confusing me to
Well, it doesn't matter completely, so I'm not going to explain it anymore. Just the whole thing is sometimes operators would make a mistake, and you'd end up talking to somebody very different than who you meant to speak to. You wouldn't be talking to Aunt Susie. So that's where the term "you got your wires crossed" came from. So you can turn the lights on now. So have you guys ever had kind of a misunderstanding with someone like that, where you would call it getting your wires crossed? I definitely have. At home, you guys, you're surrounded with some of the people that drive you the craziest. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Sometimes your family just drives you the craziest. So you have misunderstandings. You have mix-ups. At school, you have so many people that you're responsible to. You have your teachers that you're responsible to, your coaches. You have friends. You have administration. Sometimes you can have misunderstandings or mix-up. Your wires can get crossed. So with your friends, sometimes it can seem like you need a bomb squad to come in and like separate all the wires. And sometimes when there's a misunderstanding, it's like you cut the red wire and the blue wire, and an explosion happened, even though you were supposed to cut the red wire and the green wire. Okay, so sometimes explosions happen with your friends because your wires get crossed, because you have misunderstandings, because you say something that offends someone and you didn't realize it, or you do realize it. Stuff like that can happen. The point is that no matter where you turn in your life, there are people that you're going to come in contact with that you can have misunderstandings with. Wouldn't you agree? There's people everywhere that you could accidentally offend or you could hurt in your family, at school, at church, anywhere you're with people. So does that mean that we're supposed to live life in a bubble? To go in our room and just hang out and not talk to anybody? I mean, just because we have tension with people doesn't mean that we go in our room, right? Some of you are like, yeah, I'm going to put a no sisters allowed sign on my door or a no brothers allowed sign on my door, and I'm going to hang out in there by myself, and then I'll have no conflict. But that's not how it works, right? Honestly, that's not how God wired us to live in a bubble and live by ourselves. It's something that we have to deal with day by day to talk with people, things like that. So we've been looking at the beginning of creation and how God created humans. So God made Adam, and Adam's job, do you guys know his job was to tend to the garden, was to help the plants grow, was to hang out with the animals and make sure they were doing their job. You know what I mean? And God made everything. And if you look at the Bible, the 7 days in the Bible 6 days in the Bible that God created things, every day he's like, this is good. But what he noticed with Adam after a time, and we don't know if it was days or months or weeks or years, after a time, God notices that Adam by himself is not a good thing. So God creates Eve. And he doesn't create Eve just because Adam needs a wife. He creates Eve because he needs conversation, he needs connection with somebody, and he needs community. And if you think about it, God himself is community. Because here at our church and in the evangelical church, we believe that God is 3 in 1. So he's the Father God, he's the Son, and he's Holy Spirit. That's community. He has three beings that he's a part of. He created us for community. He put Adam in the garden. He's like, that's not good. I need to put another human in there to create community. So what that shows me is even from the beginning of time when God created, the beginning of time was a long time ago. Even from the beginning of the earth, God created us to be with people. And not just with people, but with people in a meaningful way, in a loving way, in community. Let me see here. In the book of Matthew. So Jesus says to his disciples that the most important things are to love God and to love other people. Those are the most important things. Say it. Love God.
Love God.
Love other people.
Love other people.
Those are the two most important things. He says this to his disciples. So love the Lord your God, Peyton, with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and it's the greatest commandment. So Jesus, the one who created everything, says this is the most important stuff. This is the stuff of life right here. And the second one is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. That means those are the two commandments that they remember, they rely on, that are important. Okay? So Jesus says this because early on, God saw that it was not fit for man to be alone. So he created community. And Jesus took it one step further and he said, community isn't just a place where you hang out. You might say to yourself, oh man, I've got friends, Erica. I'm in community. Like, I have friends that I love to hang out with. They're so fun. I love them. I say I love them. But community like that is good. You're with people. But Jesus takes it a step further and he says, no, you need to love the people within your community and love them well. Love them with my love. That's what Jesus said. So God creates community and Jesus comes and he says, yes, community is good. Love each other in it. And further than you think you need to love them. Okay? That's not the easiest thing. What if you hung out with a group of people, everyone wore the same kind of clothes, everyone listened to the same exact music, everyone had the same beliefs, everyone had the same type of nail polish if they're girls, everyone played football. I'm not saying that commonalities aren't a good thing. I'm saying that the communities that you guys are a part of in your schools are extremely diverse. Look at the person next to you in math class. Are they somebody that you are loving well? They're in your community, whether you know it, whether you want it or not. The person next to you in your math class is someone that's in your community right now that you can love. Think to yourself, are you loving that person? The person next to you in social studies or in gym or whatever class you're in, like, are you really loving them? They're in your community, Peyton, and God has put them there so that you can love them. You don't have to go to like Indonesia or China or Africa to find someone unique to love. First of all, you can just look in the community that is in your family. You might think that your brother is from another planet. You're like, that dude is weird. You might think your mom is from another century, and you mean, I don't know how to relate to my mom, that kind of thing. But those people are in your life in specific community for you to love, okay? So learn to love the people closest to you in your family, because they, even though they have the same blood as you, like, it's hard to love them sometimes, and it's good practice, and it's good life lessons to love them well, even though they're different. But it's not just about your family, it's about your school. And it's not just about your school, it's about every place that you go. Loving people and even creating community wherever you go. Creating positive, good community, Das. So what does it look like to love people around you? What does it look like? Do you guys have answers? How does it look to love the people that are around you? Alex?
The care for them, like treat them like if you were to, like if they're like somebody important to you, like president or something like that.
Okay. Well, is the president important to you?
Yes.
Okay. You mean like treat them like their family, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
That makes.
yes. Treat yes, exactly. Treat them like if they're your family.
Somebody else. Trey.
Form a group with them. Call it the Musketeers, even though there's 4 of you.
That's
Okay.
hard.
Somebody else. How else can you love people? How else can you create community? Be creative. Or tell me something that you already do. How can you love people really well that even that are next to you, Paul, in your classroom, Paul? Can you please look at me? Okay. Even people that are next to you that you don't really want to talk to because they look different. Maybe they are different, like mentally. Maybe they have some issues. Dude, love them anyway. But let me tell you that it's difficult to love people well without Jesus. If you don't have Jesus in your heart, it's really difficult to love people well because it's a sacrificial love to love people that are different than you in like real different ways. It's a sacrificial love that we learn from the God. So we get the love of God being poured into us, and then we can pour it out on other people. If we don't know Jesus, that's really hard. That's why I preach Jesus to you guys, especially those of you who don't know him, Kaylee and Peyton. Can you stop messing around, please? So especially those of you who don't know him, like, get to know Jesus because the love that comes from him is extremely powerful, and we can give that out to other people. And it changes lives. Just notice when you go to school tomorrow, I want you to think of somebody that you can see needs love, needs community, is not involved in even a group of people. Think of somebody. And if that person, you have access to them at lunch and you can go sit by them, watch both of your lives change. Watch how your heart changes toward that person, and watch how that person all of a sudden like blossoms because someone paid attention to them. Somebody noticed them. It's amazing. And the love of Jesus coming through you will love that person, especially if you're in relationship with Jesus. But guess what? Just a second, Paul, okay? Loving people in that way, in deep community ways, not just being a really good friend and hanging out, but like truly going out of your way to love someone, truly being inconvenienced to love someone, that's showing love to the Father God. When we love people like that, it's showing that we love God. It's showing God that we love him, and it's showing people that God loves them. It's amazing. So I just challenge you tomorrow when you go to school, is there somebody that you know you can love better or start to love? And think about Jesus and how he had love for everyone, no matter who they were, no matter what they looked like. He went up to a leper, someone who had a contagious disease where their skin would get boils on it and nastiness, and they were cast out by all society. He went up to them and he touched the leper, and the leper became healed. He touched a leper, and the leper was healed. He did not get the disease, but he did something that caused that leper to know deep down that they were loved, that they were cared for when everyone else in society had cast them out. Is there a leper at your school? I don't mean a real, like, has the boils, has the skin problem. Is there somebody at your school that everybody has cast out? I bet you anything you can think of one right now. You can put a picture of them in your head. Why are they cast out? Why don't people like them? Why don't people talk to them? Alex?
Because maybe they're a little more different than anybody else.
Yeah, why does that matter, do you think?
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Matter. But
I wonder what reasons we come up with in our heads to not talk to them, you know what I mean? Brandon? Trey?
Isn't it kind of putting them out there though, if you're thinking of them in that way? 'Cause they
Putting them
probably-
out there?
I don't know what's going on.
Do you mean that they would think they'd be
Like-
embarrassed because you were showing them attention?
No, what I'm
Oh, okay.
like, you were saying like that they're cast out, but almost everybody has someone that they relate to. So wouldn't it be messed up of you to think that because
Oh,
they're
I
just-
see. Okay. Well, here's another thing. If you see someone and you are like, they're sitting alone, just go sit with them anyway. If they have friends that come up, that's okay. Be in community with people.
What if there's a person that does that, like if you see another person that's doing that to them, like another person like being a jerk to them, what do you do?
Can you explain that again? I'm sorry.
Like say I was being mean to Emily, and Peyton comes up, or like Peyton sees that I'm being mean to Emily, what would she do?
What would she do, Peyton? Approach?
Stop it.
I don't know. She might come over. I mean, that's a little bit different than what we're talking about. But if you just go over and are like, "Hey guys, what's up? Like, can I help you work this out?" or something like that. Just be loving to them. Have you seen a situation like that recently? Yeah. Yeah. Paul.
Well,
Sorry, it took a while to come back to you. Do you remember it?
Yeah. Well, I always believe God always sits by himself because he doesn't care about anything in the world. So I like talk about Jesus to him and he just sit and just goes somewhere else.
Like he leaves?
Yeah. Every time
That's
I
his
talk about him.
Well, he heard Jesus. That's okay. You're doing a good thing, Paul.
Keep pursuing it.
Yeah. Zach.
Isn't
Yes. Okay, so I'm just about done here. So here's my last point. Love people, Paul. Love people no matter who they are, and that means that like accepting them exactly where they're at. So loving someone right where they are, not trying to change them, not trying to make them into something else, but just loving them for who they are right there. You know what I mean? And that's going to change their life. When we do this, when we love someone like that, it changes our lives too. It totally starts to change our hearts. Ask anybody who's had the opportunity to go hang out at Freezing Nights. When you love those people, you are so just blessed by their company, and the Lord just blesses you too as you bless those people. It's powerful.
You have just been listening to a Freedom Student Ministry podcast.